Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. In this episode, we're going to work on adding a ferry system to this sort of lake area. So we'll be connecting pretty much all of the cities on the coast of this lake up by ferry, because currently to go from Corpus Christi to Lexington, the fastest route is pretty much to drive all the way down here over to Victorville and then back up to Lexington. Although I don't even know if that's possible since this road doesn't fully connect here. So this will hopefully drive up passenger demand in this area, as hopefully people use it to pretty much just go across the river here. I think we're probably going to do 2, maybe 3 separate routes through here, because boats do take a while, so putting all 5 of these on one route might not be a bad idea, but I think keeping it smaller and more contained would help a lot more. So the first route I want to set up is coming out of Alexandria. So we're gonna have to come in here and make some space by deleting a couple of these roads. Add in a passenger harbor. We'll make sure it has enough space, and we'll put it down there. So let's work on connecting it up properly. We'll need to pull this road back just a little bit more, and then this can connect there, and then we can bring it this way and have an intersection here. So now we'll need it to bring people in and out of the city, so adding a bus stop right here would be best, and we'll just have to manage this line, find North Street, and then bring the bus line out this way. So that works, and that should bring passengers here and over to the train line here. And now the next city we want to look at is Bridgeport, and we already have a bus stop here. So if we could connect this up pretty close to where that is, that would be a huge help. We just have to make sure we line this up correctly and get it so that it's connected to the bus stop as well as to the water. I think that works. The road's at a little bit of a different elevation, but that's fine. And we already have the bus stop here, so we don't need to worry about changing that around. Next city is over here in Corpus Christi. We can probably add the passenger harbor right here. That connects to that road just fine. And this one we will need to add a bus stop. So we'll put a bus stop right there. Find this, and we'll want to add this station right after Meadow Street. So we can see that works nicely, and that's all connected up. Now Lexington, right here is probably going to be the best spot. We have a bus stop here, and the road is a bit pulled back from the coast, so we're not going to really run into any issues there. We just got to hope it's not too far away where it can still connect to both. So we can see it says the dock's outside of navigable water. So we're just going to have to come in and flatten some of this land so we can fit this in here. So let's see what this gives us. And this is much better. So we'll put that there. We'll come in, smooth out the terrain, and that should be good. So Lexington's all set up, and the last city is Victorville. So we'll come in here, and we'll want to pull this back just a bit more. Actually, we could probably just put it over here and add a small road connecting to it. So we'll do that. Find the streets and connect this up right there. Add a bus stop. Find our bus network, and we'll add it into all this. So now we have all 5 of our passenger harbors set up. All that's left to do is build a shipyard, which we'll build over here. This is pretty out of the way. And the way I think we're going to group it is we're going to have Alexandria and Bridgeport going between each other. We're going to have Lexington and Victorville going between those two. And then Bridgeport, Corpus Christi, and Lexington will be a triangle pretty much. So we'll start with this first line from Alexandria to Bridgeport. So if we want to go for speed, we could choose this boat here, the Meridian Ferry. But I think we'll opt for this one, as it has about 30 more capacity and only goes 2 miles an hour slower. So we'll go with this one. I think 3 of them should be good for such a small route. And then we'll go from Alexandria to Bridgeport. So now those should be coming out. Hopefully, we speed up time. There we go. Those are coming out, and those will be on their way. And then I think between Victorville and Lexington, we will also do 3 of those same boats. So we'll select this one, choose 3 of them, and connect a new line from Victorville to Lexington. So we'll let those boats get on their way, and then we'll set up our final route between Lexington, Bridgeport, and Corpus Christi. So for this last line, because it is a loop and it's servicing 3 cities instead of just 2, we're going to go with 5 boats on this line. So then they'll go Corpus Christi to Lexington, although I think we selected the wrong platform in Lexington. Over to Bridgeport, and then right here. So now that loop is set up, and it should all be running pretty well. And then looking over here at Alexandria, we already have some people waiting. So that's good to see, and hopefully the demand there will start to really increase once these ports sort of get set up. Alright, so now that all of our lines are up and running, one thing we're going to want to make sure is that the bus infrastructure is adequate in each of these cities, as we want to make sure that we're bringing enough passengers in frequently enough to fill up these boats, as usually at the moment only 1 or 2 buses really get over to the port before the next boat comes. And we can also see some of these are pretty outdated lines that desperately need upgraded. So over here in Alexandria, if we select this and manage the vehicles, we do have pretty new buses on here, but we just want to make sure that we have enough. Because if we look around, some of these bus stops have tons of people waiting, and having more buses will help move people around more. So we'll let those buses sort of filter in throughout the route, spread themselves out, and hopefully they won't get caught up in too much traffic. But now we can move on to the next city of Bridgeport, which this city is probably going to need a few more stops. It's grown quite a bit since we first initially put this bus route in. If we can find a good spot, probably there, we can then come in and manage this line. So we can add a station up there, add in this station we added over there, and then the last station we placed down, we can add that one there. And then these buses desperately need replaced with these newer buses, and we'll probably just clone all of them so that there's enough buses running on this loop. And we'll see how that goes when we check back up later on. And we have sort of the same issue over here in Corpus Christi, where it could probably do with 1 or 2 new bus stops, as it's pretty rough. We only really had the center of the city covered because it's grown so much since we last checked up on it. So we'll come in here, manage the line, and add in these new stops. And then we'll also want to come in, replace these vehicles, and we'll want to clone a couple of them just to keep the frequency up. Now, Lexington's pretty rough. Pretty much all of these bus stops have a ton of people waiting, and I think we have the coverage. We just simply need to replace these buses, and we'll see how these new buses handle all the demand here. And then lastly is Victorville, which I believe really the only thing Victorville needs is probably just a few more buses on the line. So we clone those 3, that'll double the amount of buses on the line, and hopefully we should see more demand popping up here. Alright, so now that we've gone through and upgraded the bus lines to meet the new demand, we can come in here and start to see these boats are starting to carry a little bit more. Here we got 23 out of 150. This one here's got 27. This port over here is starting to see a bunch of people. And I think the more these lines develop, the more we'll start to see them getting used. So we'll let those run. Hopefully they'll start to get us more of a profit. If not, we might have gone a little overkill with all the boats, so we could probably afford to get rid of 1 or 2 on each of these lines. But we'll come back and reevaluate that later once everything gets more established. But that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.